was basically to do whatever it takes. So it was not commitment to specific tasks. It's not that this is what we're going to do, no. It's a commitment that we're going to do this job no matter what, whatever it takes. That's what the people signed on when they came to this faith. And remember, what is this mission? So that everybody is on board, is simply to make Islah, which means make individuals better people, and through them make this world a better place for everybody. That means justice prevails, peace, harmony, prosperity, you name it. That's what Allah wants, that's our job to do. So committing individuals to the mission, that's the key. That's when you start your car, that's what you do. That's what makes everything works, that when you turn on that key. That's committing individuals to the mission, that gets the whole process to start. Full commitment to a big mission. And commitment, as I said, is to something, basically they're committing to the goal, not to a task. There's a big difference between committing to a specific task, once you finish, you're okay, and committing to a goal that you don't rest until it is achieved. The Prophet asked and get commitment for the ultimate goal. What is this ultimate goal? What's the ultimate goal of Islam in this life? Is one that basically the message reaches everybody in the best possible way. So as long there is one person on earth who did not receive the message of Islam in the right way, because nowadays a lot of people received it, but in the wrong way. Those who learn about Islam from the news and from what many people are, the horrible acts that some people commit in the name of Islam, people are learning about Islam the wrong way. We're saying until everybody on earth receive the message of Islam in the best possible way. Is it our job to convert? No, it's not. Neither nor to convert, nor even to judge. Just have to bring the person to make a conscious decision, know what Islam is, and then it's their job, their business to decide to take it or leave it. But your job is the job of the witness. What's the job of the witness? Is to make it easy for the judge to make the right decision. That's all. You just give the information and then the judge makes the decision. Quran says, لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ, so that you will be witnesses. That's your job, to bring the people to see it as is and then make the decision. That's their job. That's not your responsibility. That's one. Second, as long there is some injustice on earth, as long there is some oppression, as long there is something wrong on earth, you still have work to do. Why? Because this mission of Islam is about enjoining that which is good and forbidding or working against that which is wrong. So that's the ultimate goal. That's what people committed to. You work until this is achieved. That helps you understand why they were going out from Mecca to the Arabian Peninsula to everywhere, because that's what they committed to in the first place, to take this message everywhere and to make sure that justice on earth prevails, that nobody will remain oppressed, no form of injustice remains on earth. Commitment to the mission, that's what the Prophet used to build his community. Now once you commit someone to the mission, you put them on the right track. As we have been discussing, commitment to the mission has a lot of implications. Right away you find yourself, you have to be working on yourself. Why? Because this mission is very demanding, because you committed to represent this deen, and to represent Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you have to represent in the best possible way. Tazkiyah comes immediately following. You commit to the mission, immediately you find yourself, have to work, have to develop yourself. Plus this mission is very demanding. It's a huge task. Requires people who are very disciplined, very organized, and very knowledgeable, and it's not for people who are lazy or lousy or average. It's for people who really are working on themselves to be up to the job. Immediately follow that you have to reach out and interact with people, because how can you convey the message if you don't do that? Immediately, once you commit to the mission, you find yourself have to be civically engaged, because there is no way you can change things unless you are involved. And you cannot change things unless you are informed. So everything follows. Everything falls in place once you commit to this mission of Islam. Even the worship has a different meaning. You need that worship to refuel, because you have that mission to fulfill. It's no longer a routine task that you're praying because you have to, or because you are used to, or because your parents are praying or told you to pray. Now this is something that you need to recharge, refuel. Otherwise you will run out of gas in fulfilling that task. Second, commitment to the mission engenders two things. One, motivation. Lots of motivation. People who have a cause in this life, they are much more motivated than people who don't. If you have a mission in this life, you become so motivated, so energetic. It's like somebody has put a fire inside of you. So you become always very motivated and very mobilized. So engenders mobilization, plus unity. Because if you have the same mission, that will bring you closer together. We have the same goal. So we have to cooperate, and we have to strengthen that relationship, because we have the same goal. That's how teams are built. Teams want to win. They have the same goal. That's why they work together as a team. Second, no community without a mission, no community without leadership. No community without a mission, no community without leadership. Now this word leadership became very vague, that's why we had to specify it last time. It's not management, it's not activism, it's leadership. It's a very serious. In Islam, it's very essential, because community cannot exist without it. And we talked about this model of the Prophet, very effective, incredibly effective, gets the best of all the models. Extensive consultation, decisiveness, discipline. There is an individual leader, but everybody is feeling the same sense of responsibility. It's amazing. It's amazing how simple this model and how incredibly effective it is. So if you're not here last week, you may want to check the recording. We talked in details about how this model works and why decisions about war and peace, the decision that we talked about last time in Uhud, it wasn't a minor decision to remodel a mosque or to expand or to do an activity. It was a decision of war and peace. Yet it was taken with the same simple model. Consultation, decision, execution. Even a decision of that extent, so serious, compared to anything that we do nowadays that takes us hours and hours and meetings, etc., and unable to reach a decision. A decision of that magnitude was taken in a simple setting. People sitting together, discussed, so all the opinions, made the decision, got into execution. That's how incredibly effective the model of the Prophet was. What does leadership do? Ensures unity. Why? Because people naturally are different. If we don't have a mechanism to turn different opinions into one decision, we can never build a community. You can't. if you don't have a mechanism in place that is clear, very transparent, people knows it. If there is no such mechanism to turn different opinions into one binding decision, because we take decisions nowadays, but they're not binding to anybody. Nobody is bound by those decisions. Talking about binding decision. That's what how the model of the Prophet worked. That there is clear mechanism that turns different opinions into one binding decision. Once a decision is made, it's over. It's not my opinion or your opinion, or I disagree or you agree. Done. Now that decision is your opinion. Regardless of what was your opinion before, that decision is binding to everybody. You should strive to execute it to the best of your ability. A lot of time when people don't go your way, you wish and sometimes you try to make it fake so that you prove your point. No. Once a decision is taken, regardless of what was your opinion before, you do your best to make it work, even if it was totally against your opinion. You do your best to make it work. And you do all of this as an act of worship. The counseling, the shura, the consultation, the execution, all of them, by the leader, by the members, are done as an act of worship. 2, nowadays in our communities, do you see mission? We don't. Do you see leadership? There isn't. So, it's over. Can't have a community. You cannot call this a community. You can call it anything else. Community of believers is built on mission and leadership. We have 2 more mechanisms that are support mechanisms. They're very important, but these are the pillars. You can't build a community without a mission. You can't build a community without true leadership. And we call it community. Number 3 was can't forget. There are only 4. Number 3 was mentorship. Was brotherhood and mentorship.
But that came under tazkiyah, did it?
No. Tazkiyah, as an individual, when you commit to the mission, you will be doing it. But as a community, mentorship is not self-development. It's different. The word tazkiyah means both, depending on the context. It means self-development and it means mentorship. So the mechanism that made this community very solid, the third was brotherhood and sisterhood. Yes.
So I understand what the problem is, and the problem you're describing, and the little news that I follow, I see this in our countries overseas, where there's no leadership, there is no brotherhood, there's no community. The question is, and you're starting with tazkiyah, so you start with yourself, and then maybe your family, and then so on and so forth. Is that it? That's the way to change the whole society, is just to start one step at a time? Because there's no one, because all of what you're saying is based on the fact that everybody has good taqwa, and they're sitting there and they're making this as an act of ibadah, there's no, power struggles, there's no jealousy, there's no nothing, so, we're very far from that, right? So, are you saying just do what?
We are very far, you're right. It's changing one individual at a time. Changing people. Now that's what we have been missing all along. We always think that if you change the government, if you change the management, if you change the building, if you change it, change comes by changing people. So when you change one individual, that can have multiple effect or implications, because that individual has people around them. Now, changing societies is basically, I can see 2 ways or 2 mechanisms to change societies. Role models and leadership. In a society, in a community, you want to change a community, you cannot do it without role models and leaders. Society is the same thing, role models and civic leaders. That's why, because that's what you need to change people. To change individuals, you need role models and you need leaders and mentors. So it may look that too simple, but believe it or not, that's how the Prophet changed the world. The Prophet changed the world by the quality of people he has succeeded to build in Mecca. And they were in the few dozens. We're talking about 70. That's how many people migrated with the Prophet, plus the people in Medina later. But it is changing individuals. And I have first-hand experience on this. I found out that even though it is the most demanding and takes longer to change one person, but if you manage to do that, you can change a whole community by one individual. It's amazing. It's amazing how this process is so slow, because it takes a lot of effort to change one person. But then the effect, if you manage to do that, the results are amazing. And that's exactly what the Prophet did. 13 years, there was nothing changing in the world. Even in Mecca, there was very little changing, except those people. But you see later on what happened, what these people were able to do. So 13 years, you end up with 70, 80 people. That's all. You didn't change anything in Mecca. Everything in Mecca was still going the same way. But these 70 were able to change the whole world. Right individuals and the right community. There is a saying that says, إذا وجد المؤمن الصحيح وجدت معه أسباب النجاح جميعا. If you have the right believer, with the right believer comes all the reasons for success, or all the tools of success. إذا وجد المؤمن الصحيح وجدت معه أسباب النجاح جميعا. So, brotherhood and sisterhood, and then mentorship. And we said that brotherhood and sisterhood, the mission brings people together. The leadership reinforces that unity. The brotherhood and sisterhood is very needed because there is sometimes friction. There are sometimes decision and difference of opinions, so that emotional attachment is important. I mean, you don't want people just to be very, always very strict. So, mission brings people together. Leadership reinforces that unity. The brotherhood and sisterhood, that emotional attachment is important because, as I said, people can be involved in tough decision and discussion. So if there is no attachment, emotional attachment, community can disintegrate because of that. Because again, a community that stands to change is going to face a lot of challenges. Has never been easy. All kinds of challenges you can think of. So if this community is not very solid from the beginning, that's why we have all the mechanisms help ensuring that unity. So unity of purpose, unity of leadership, emotional attachment, and then another mechanism which is mentorship. Mentorship does what? One, it brings people quickly on board, newcomers. Imagine we are a community, we stay together for a number of years or a number of months, and then somebody comes in. How this person can catch up? Through mentorship. You assign someone to that person, quickly bring them. It becomes the first stop to ask questions, and it is done in many institutions even nowadays. You go to many colleges and universities, new instructor that comes in or new faculty, they assign a mentor to, so that this person can catch up quickly. It becomes the first place where you go to ask every question you have. How can I do this? Where can I find this, etc. Rather than bothering everybody bothering the boss or the dean, that you have this concept of mentorship. And also it helps unity, because there is a level of respect between a person and his or her mentor. You can see how this community was, why this community was so solid, because there are 4 very effective mechanisms that all of them engenders or produces unity. Unity of purpose, we have the same cause. And then we have the same leader. And then we are brothers and sisters. And then we are more than likely, each one of us mentored, or one of us mentored the other. When you have a community with all these mechanisms, no wonder that it was so solid and so effective. So that's the parallel, that's the collective track. Well, most of the time that we spent before was on the individual track. Both of them have to work in parallel. Community is not a substitute for the individual. We got it wrong. That model, that the community is going to do the job of the organization and your job is just to support, that's wrong. And we have been trying, that was very ineffective. And we still are trying it, unfortunately. Because we don't learn our lessons, we keep doing the same thing, even if it proves to be wrong. It's a very inefficient. Why? Because it reached its ceiling very quickly. Prove, go to every masjid. What do you find? Find 10, 15 people who are active, exhausted, just to keep things going. And hundreds of people around them, spectators. Why? Because they were told that just attend activities, fill out a membership, and donate, and you're good. We're going to do the job for you. That babysitting model has gone nowhere. It's the wrong one. That's not the model of the Prophet. The model of the Prophet is the opposite. It's individuals who do the job. And community is there to support. That model has no limits. See the difference? Few people doing the job and the community is supporting. That model quickly reaches ceiling. That's why we're stagnant, by the way. That's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons we are stagnant. Because the model has already reached its ceiling. In every community you have, again, small number of people exhausted just to keep things going. Not even to plan for the future. Just to keep things running. They're exhausted. And around them, a lot of talents, a lot of resources, people have free time, they can help. But model was set up from the beginning that we're going to do the job for you. We just want you to attend and donate, and we're going to do the job. The model of the Prophet works the other way around. I'm giving you a mission to do, and I'm here to support you to do it. So community exists to support individuals fulfilling their mission in their respective environment. That's one job. The second job for the community is for these people who are already doing their jobs to come together to do the job at a higher level, which is at the society at large. So each one is responsible to do his or her part. We build community and organization to do what? One, to support individuals doing their job, and two, to be the forum through which the job is done at the society. You do it in your neighborhood and workplace, I do it in my park, everybody will do their job. We get together to do what? To support one another, to support individuals doing the job, and to think about how can we make a difference in the society at large. That's not the model we are using. Again, every time we talk about what should happen, and then we compare it to what is actually happening, you see actually it's not the difference, it's the contrast. Huge difference between how things should work in Islam and how they are actually working. I'm going to give you, share with you two thoughts, and then we're going to take advantage because we have plenty of time today, or more time, to get more your feedback and questions. Two thoughts. I didn't have time to share them in Jumu'ah. One from Syria and one from Tunis, from Tunisia. Syria is, as you have seen, the shaky truce that is taking place. The moment it was enforced, what happened? People came out to the street demanding freedom. After everything that happened, people did not forget the cause that they went out for from to begin with. It's amazing. It's an amazing scene. After all the destruction, I mean, we can talk a lot about what happened. There were a lot of mistakes, but regardless, it's a revolution that turned into a messy civil war, regional, but at the end of the day, the people who started it, demanding freedom, the moment they had a chance, they went out and they were asking for freedom peacefully as they started 4 or 5 years ago. It's amazing. That scene was really amazing. What changed here? These are the same Syrians. The same Syrians who was been living under oppression for so long and happy with it. What changed these people? The people, they have a mission. Now they have a mission. That's the difference. People, they have a mission to fight for. What's their mission? Now it's freedom. Mission is freedom. You see the difference between someone with a mission, how much motivation, how much willing to sacrifice, and someone without mission. It's the same people. What changed them is they have now a mission. They are determined. That's, by the way, what happened for nations that were occupied. They used to be under occupation, happy with it for a long time. Suddenly, they decide this occupation must end. Once they make that commitment or that pledge or that decision, the whole population becomes mobilized to get this job done. So you can see the power of the mission. People have a mission in Syria now. That's why they're unstoppable. With all the atrocity, with all the casualties, they're unstoppable because they have a mission. I think that one of the statements say, "Lissa bidna hurriya." We still want freedom. After 4 or 5 years, we still want freedom. So this, the power of a mission. Second, probably some of you have heard the terrorist attack in Tunisia last week. It's the same. They wanted to do like they did in Mosul and in Sirte and Raqqa and everywhere. They go and they want to establish an imara. And so, by the way, it's a big one. I mean, very heavily equipped and armed and well planned, etc. I personally was surprised from the reaction of the people. In 1979, there was a group of people, Tunisians, who were trained in Libya and sent to Tunisia to disturb because of the political difference between two regimes, etc. Nobody cared. People were just avoiding. Nobody cared. This time, the people were chasing those terrorists. They stood with their army, they stood with their security forces, and full support, it's a lot of bravery we have never seen before. Reaction that was surprised the most optimistic people. What changed here? People felt they had a homeland, watan. They didn't feel this before. Under oppression, they were thinking that the country belongs to regime. They didn't care what happened to it. After 4 years of freedom, even though things are not really working out properly, but people felt this is a homeland. Don't mess up with it. Very spontaneous. The reaction was very spontaneous. It's amazing. Even those who are very mad with the government, they were at the forefront defending the homeland. Here we had people who have a mission. Here we have people who have a homeland, watan. Now combine the two, you will see amazing results. You will see amazing results when people have a mission, and a homeland. And then I think I remember I mentioned this before. There was a statement, a shocking statement one time I read it. A Jew who was in the British Army in the World War II, World War I. Then we have the Zionist movement and they established the state of Israel. And he flew from his soldier, or even not even soldier, has high ranking in the army. So he flew and he landed in Tel Aviv. What did he say? He said, now I have a cause and the country to fight for. Now I have a cause and a country to fight for. It's a very powerful statement. Two, the biggest motivations, the biggest engine of motivation is when you have a cause and the country. He said, now I have a cause and the country to fight for. That's what is missing nowadays among Muslims. It's these two things, that you have a cause and you have the sense. That's why I emphasize this patriotism in Islam, because this is one of the things that we're suffering from. We have people who are very religiously motivated, but they end up killing their people and destroying their country. What kind of religion is this? I mean, if they get the package that this deen is about patriotism and compassion, in addition to to accepting or committing to a mission, Islam is about patriotism and compassion. You will never see a good practicing Muslim killing or destroying or blowing up building or absolutely can't. But because these people were given Islam without patriotism, we ended up with this nonsense. So I wanted to share these thoughts just to emphasize I mean, we're talking about the model of the Prophet, we can see it nowadays. We want this community to change. There is no way this community will change without these two factors. Until this community has a mission, and we don't have to invent one. We already have one. We just abandon it. I mean, we don't have to look for a mission. A Muslim has a mission. It's just something that is waiting for you. I mean, you neglected it or you abandoned it. Time has come to go and just recommit to it. Yes?
So if we take that example of that soldier, he had a mission and he had a cause to fight for. To want to fight for something, what is our mission? What is our cause? To spread Islam, I mean, that's a very, it's a good mission, a good cause, but it's not something you go fight for, right? You don't go spread it by the sword, right?
No. Fighting here doesn't mean the literal meaning.
No, I understand.
To strive.
To be engaged, to have that fire in your belly, as you mentioned. So what is our cause?
All right, what is our cause? That's a very good question. I said,
It's what we do.
the part of it which is the da'wah. The conveying, ensuring your cause is to be witness, meaning to make sure that this message that has reached you will reach everybody. Now you cannot reach everybody, but you have people around you. And we talked about how to do it. Is the best way is by example. So that's one track. It's not something that can be done overnight. It's going to take all our life to do it. But that's one track. The second track, as I said, if we want to, in this country, if we want to figure out what is it that Allah wants, that's, by the way, our mission. Our mission is to figure out what Allah wants to happen and do it. In every context you find yourself, is to try to figure out what Allah expects from you or wants and make it happen. And what Muhammad ﷺ would have done if he was in your place. Now imagine, let's talk specifically, practically, this country. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants this country want justice to prevail in this country. And we know there are a lot of injustices. So you're asking about your cause, that's what our cause. To ensure that everything that is good in this country is defended and protected. Everything that is wrong has to be fixed. So that's in generic ways. You want to be more specific, you can think about homelessness, poverty, minimum wage, you name it. There are so many issues that are, and you have women working the same job and get paid less than men. I mean, it's a number of issues that Muslims should be working on. Anything that is destroying, harmful to the society. If you want to talk about social diseases, we're talking about injustices, it's at the end of the day it comes to dhulm and munkar. Dhulm is injustice. Anything that is unfair, that is unjust, should be Muslim. That's the job of the believers, is to work against it, to try to reduce it, hopefully eliminate it. And you have social diseases. So if you want to summarize in this country, this is what you do. Anything that is good from an Islamic perspective, and there are a lot of good in this country. There are a lot of things that are good. You should be working to defend it. Anything that is Islamic wrong, you should be working against it, trying to reduce it or eliminate it. To do that, you need to be engaged, informed, of course, but how this is done? By changing policies and norms and social norms. And I said that in this country there are a number of norms that have changed in the last few decades. You can see it in many aspects, that there are some norms. One of them is smoking. I mean, what's the norm now? The norm is non-smoking. That was not the case a couple decades before. The norm was smoking. I mean, you should go to a place and ask, do they have a non-smoking place? And some people will tell you no, and some people will take you to a corner. That's the non-smokers. Everything else is a smoking place. There are people who work to change the norm, and they were successful, change the norm and the law. So what is our cause? Is our cause to seek the best conditions for this country and seek the maximum contribution from Muslims. As a community, seek the maximum contribution from Muslim Americans to achieve the best conditions for America.
It's funny about talking about smoking, it's funny how they ban the smoking, but now we bring some bad habits to the Western culture. We bring this hookah, all these hookah bars, they're popping up everywhere, and as an attraction for the hookah bar. I mean,
speak around them, seriously.
we bring some bad.
What can you do? That's our contribution.
You go Manassas, you go Woodbridge, with no Arab population, is popping up this hookah bar.
That's shisha, right?
Shisha.
That's our contribution, unfortunately. Yeah.
But you are right, our mission, it's no different than the mission of all the prophets and the Anbiya that Allah have sent to this earth. It's a continuation to their mission, right?
It's not even continuing, it's the same.
It's the same.
It just was passed on to us. It's the same mission. Yes.
You mentioned 3 Fridays ago, ibadah is tazkiyah, what you say, including the tazkiyah.
So the ibadah included in tazkiyah.
Tazkiyah. And social debate, no. Social interaction,
is
you
da'wah.
say is da'wah. And
Civic engagement.
Civic engagement. I think you summarize everything what we have to do.
Yeah.
These three levels.
Yeah. The brother is, because some people don't attend Jumu'ah. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking about the different aspects of the mission. And I said, you were here. I said, basically, if you think about the role of a believer, duties, you can summarize them into Tazkiyah and Islah. Tazkiyah and Islah. Or Tazkiyah and Amr Ma'ruf and Nahi. If you want to go a step further, you can make it Islah, because even Tazkiyah is just to fix yourself. I mean, that's why, subhanAllah, Quran summarized by one word. In Uridu illa al-Islah. So I said that Tazkiyah, self-development, basically, you can evaluate yourself, how good a believer you are, about how much progress you're making and how much impact you're making. And I emphasize this also this Friday, that at the end of the day, you may want to ask yourself, in what way did I improve today? And what was my contribution? You ask yourself about the day that has passed, and you plan for next day. If Allah gives you one more day, you plan about, okay, I'm going to do this in terms of self-improvement, and I'm going to do that in terms of contribution. Imagine yourself doing this exercise every day. At the end of the day, you ask yourself about the day that passed. How did I improve today? I had 24 hours. I mean, doesn't make any sense that whole 24 hours and you just don't improve. In what way did I progress? And what was my contribution today? You get the answer? All right. Tomorrow, inshallah, if Allah gives me life, this is what I'm going to do on the first track. This is what I'm going to do on the second one. I'm going to do something that I didn't do before. I'm going to go and try to help someone or do something, contribute, make a contribution. As I said, if it is okay for any community to live for itself, it's not fitting for Muslims to live for themselves. Allah says you were sent to humanity. It's not me. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. Allah sent you to serve and guide and help people. So it's not fitting. Really, it bothers me when I see Muslims thinking about their own needs only. When they get involved in politics, only in issues that affect them directly. But when it comes to issues that affect other people, we don't care. That's not appropriate. That's not fitting for a believer to do that. كنتم خير أمة, you are the best of community, sent to humanity. And Allah sent community, and He used to send individuals, and after Muhammad ﷺ, Allah sent the whole community of believers to the humanity. So going back, say, tazkiyah and islah. Working on yourself, make yourself a better individual, better person, in everything that you're doing. You know, you have many roles to play. You just have to improve. There are many aspects in your life that needs to be worked out. Spiritual, intellectual, character, health, finances, skills, you name it. But there are many roles also that you fulfill. There is a role that you play at home, there is a role in the workplace. You try to perfect those roles. So there is plenty of room to work. And anybody who thinks that doesn't need to learn anymore, or doesn't need to improve anymore, then you start going down. The moment you think that you are already there, you start going down. As long you're living, you're learning. As long you're living, you're growing, you're improving. There's so many things that need to... Remember, the standard is what? The Prophet. I mean, it's the ibadah of the Prophet, it's the character of the Prophet, it's the dedication of the Prophet. Who can say that I'm already there? So, yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when I'm projecting what you're saying to this society and this community and this nation, I feel that whenever something good happens or bad happens, it doesn't come from that community that did that. It comes from an individual, an American. So whenever something good happens, they say this is a good American. They don't say this is a good Muslim or a good Mormon or a good Baptist. I'm afraid that whatever we're building for when we try to do it, it's going to melt the American identity. I mean, we know that this is Islamic, but then we will be working under a true American umbrella, the good American, the one who tries to help build his country or his society or help out. So where does the role of da'wah come in as showing ourselves as Muslims? No matter how Islamic we will be, we'll still be at the end cast as good Americans.
All right, that's a very good question. Number one, no, we should focus on getting the job done, not even on the credit. Because the mission is the job. So when you do something good for the society, that by itself is the achievement. If there is a way to be credited to Islam, that's great. But even if it isn't, we shouldn't make it conditional. We shouldn't make it conditional that we don't do anything except if we make sure only when we make sure that the credit is going to go to Islam. No. Getting the job done pleases Allah. When you make the society better, pleases Allah. That's the first goal. That's the ultimate goal. Believe it or not, sooner or later, people will know who you are. We are at a time when people can easily find out about you. So if someone really makes a contribution to the society, helps solving the problem, people will know that this person is Muslim. That's one. And second, if you have the chance, that's your best chance. If the people ask you, so what made you do this? That's your golden opportunity to say I was motivated by my faith. That's all what is needed.
For those who worked on abolishing smoking as a norm, we don't know who they are.
That's fine. It was great, we are enjoying it. So what a great achievement. It pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The achievement itself pleases Allah.
Yeah.
They have their rewards. Saved. They will never lose anything. Now, as I said, if there is an opportunity, we shouldn't miss it. If there is an opportunity, right? Keep in mind that things are changing very quickly. Now it's very hard for someone to come in the media as someone who did something good and people don't know that who he is. Even different than the time of the people who worked against smoking. Where we live at the age now where people are watching TV and Googling. Who is this person? Well, he's born in this place, he's a Muslim. So even before you say it, we live at, time has changed completely. But it's very hard now for America, for someone to do a noble thing, something good, and make a contribution to the society, or even achieve success, even individual success, and without people knowing who it is. That's one. Second, most of the time, when this happens, somebody is going to approach you. From the local media, if it is small, from national media, if it is big, etc., and interview you. And that's your golden chance. Golden chance to say that's these things, that's what our faith tells us to do. And that word, next to the accomplishment, is more effective in da'wah than tons of brochures and posters and that people do. That word, that my faith motivates me to do this. Next to the accomplishment that people have seen, whether it is personal accomplishment or community accomplishment. Next to it is more effective da'wah than tons of brochures and booklets that we distribute. And I said it many times. I said the sister with the hijab, volunteering in any effort here is more effective da'wah than probably all the da'wah that Muslims are doing in this country. Because that speaks volume. You don't need to talk. See, a sister in a shelter or a sister is helping in a good cause with a hijab that people now know what it is. They don't know it, they probably confused with other things. Now they know hijab means Muslim. That picture or that act can be much more effective than all the talk about Islam is peace and Islam is this and Islam is that.
Just like the woman who stood in the Trump rally, she didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
She stood there with her.
Yeah. But again, I want to emphasize this, that when we participate in these noble efforts, we don't do it for the credit or for the media. Because that's, unfortunately, some Muslims nowadays are getting there. It's about media. Let's do something so that the media can. It's important. I'm not underestimating the importance of media. But we do things because that's our mission. And we get satisfaction when it is done. So when we help somebody who needs help, you get satisfied. If on top of this, this person or somebody know that you are a Muslim and you're doing it in the name of Islam, that's extra. But the act itself should be fulfilling. That Allah is pleased with you because you helped someone. Or you help this country becoming better. Yes, sir.
Yeah, there was a story that one single mom, with 4 kids, and their house got foreclosure, she was evicted from the house. She didn't have a job or anything, so their house went to auction. And she was just curious. She said, I just want to go to see who buy the house. And she was there with her kid, and she didn't say anything. So the house was bidding and bidding, bidding. The higher bidder bought the house, and he knew who she is, but she didn't have no idea who she is in the community. And he returned the key to her. Here is your house, I bought it for you. It's paid for it.
I heard that news.
Yeah.
It's a real story?
Yeah, this is a real story, and this was in the media. The guy, he didn't do it for media or show this or something, just a good deed, and that was a mission.
Generosity.
Yeah, in generosity, and that's
You'll be
God
amazed.
wanted this.
You'll be amazed
Yeah.
on how Allah can put barakah and blessing on a very small act that is done very sincerely. You'll be amazed about its effects.
I was on World News, I heard that. It was amazing.
Yeah, what they made.
We are against in the middle of the campaign right now with Donald Trump. And yesterday somebody approached him, and today he's saying he's Muslim or he's ISIS. What do you advise us to do when the people asking us this?
I never took this guy seriously from day one. Whenever asked, I said that from my understanding, I've been in this country for enough time to realize that Americans will never put this guy in the White House.
But a lot of people...
Regardless, don't tell me how it's going to happen, but I'm telling you, Americans will never put this guy in the White House. He may get the nomination for Republicans. That's none of my business. That's none of my business. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the next phase. You will see Republicans rallying behind Hillary or behind the Democrat candidate. This person, people will not be able to sleep if he is in the White House. The memory with George Bush is still fresh. And that guy was much more reasonable and mature compared to this. People will not be able to sleep in this country if this guy is in the White House. So I'm not really taking it seriously. It's a media show, big balloon, but at the end of the day, it's going to turn to nothing. Now the Republican parties are doing everything they can to stop and prevent him from being the nominee. His own party. And don't be surprised if he gets the nomination to see Republican leaders coming out and endorsing